I'm supposed to be talking for about 10 minutes, and somebody asking me to talk for 10 minutes is usually doesn't know me very well. But I hope, I hope to keep to my 10 minutes. So I would actually like first to thank ABDGN for helping organize this session, and particularly Kweku, who put in so much work to make sure that it actually happens. My presentation is going to highlight the efforts that ABDGN and its membership is making to create a global platform on which we can build effective response to HIV among Black populations living in the diaspora. This work I'm going to present is actually funded by the Canadian Institutes of Health Research, who kindly gave us a grant to actually help develop this framework. The presentation is actually organized around these 4 themes. Who are Black people living in the diaspora, so a brief description. Where are they located? And I will highlight some promising frameworks that we have actually identified through the literature, and finally have a look at how we're going to conceptualize the framework we're actually going to develop. And without further ado, we actually had a big debate around who are Black people living in the diaspora. And African and Black populations are actually Africans, Black Africans and their descendants who are dispersed across the globe. They may have left home willingly, or they were forced to leave for various reasons. Some of them maintain very close ties with their countries of origin, or they actually don't. It is estimated that there are actually about 140 million people from the African diaspora who are living outside the continent, mostly living in the global north. And some of them are recent migrants, others are, first, second generation, or multi-generational communities. Some are refugees and refugee asylum seekers. Some are mobile populations, such as those who go to countries looking for work. There has been actually a growing recognition that Black populations living in the diaspora are highly impacted by HIV. Though there is still problems with collecting ethnicity-based data in global north countries, there is this data which is emerging in a variety of countries, that Black populations as an entity are impacted by HIV highly. If you look at the traditional key populations such as MSM, youth, women, as well as migrant populations, we have a large component of Black populations within those traditional key populations. But as an entity, we know Black people are highly impacted by HIV within the global north. We also recognize, or it's recognized, that Black people are driving the heterosexual epidemic that has emerged in many global north countries. So actually yesterday I learned something that I had never thought about, that there are about 300,000 Black people living in China. We have actually never thought about China as a place where we might be getting the next epidemic among Black people. But Australia, Canada, the United States, and the EU has been struggling with this problem for some time. At the global level, there is actually emerging recognition that this is a problem. In 2011, those ones of us who were at the Angus meeting, ABDGN and its affiliates fought really, really hard to actually have migrant and mobile populations recognized as a key population, and this actually ended up in the document that resulted from Angus. We also know in the discussions around post-MDGs and the development agenda post-2015, the diasporas have been recognized as a key piece to development, but only in as much as we support countries of origin where we come from, as a financial contribution that we make to our home countries. But there is failure to recognize that for us to be able to make that contribution, we need to be healthy. We need to be integrated into the systems in which in the countries in which we live. So these pieces need to go hand in hand. In terms of promising frameworks, we actually identified about 5 of them, which we feel have some relevance to the work that we actually need to do. And we picked these frameworks because we feel that they have something to contribute to what we're actually developing. They have the possibility of impacting HIV policy and service delivery among ABD populations. Some are peer-reviewed and are published in literature. And one of them, the one from WHO, actually has support from member states. So we feel that these are important and can help us or can inform the framework which we hope to actually develop. And because I don't have enough time to actually go into each of them, I'm going to highlight 2. This is the framework that has emerged from WHO, the health of migrants, the way forward. You can see it has 4 pillars: monitoring migrant health, policy, legal frameworks, migrant-sensitive health systems, as well as the partnerships that are required to be able to work across these different pillars. It recognizes the specific health needs of migrants and the intersections with the legal systems in which they actually live. It promotes coordinations between the different domains and different levels of government to actually support working with migrants. It also recognizes the need for data to actually inform the health of migrants. This one came from, was actually presented at a high-level meeting we organized in Vienna in 2010, bringing different levels of governments together, regional governments, ECDC, CDC, Health Canada, to actually talk about how we can support Black populations deal with HIV. It acknowledges the historical context of migration, the legacies of slavery and colonization, in the various regional contexts in which Black populations are found. It is linked to the determinants of health, and it recognizes the diversity of the Black diaspora in various contexts. It recognizes the relations between social structures and institutions in which people have to engage with on a day-to-day basis. This is very HIV specific, looks quite promising, and we hope to actually get something out of it. In terms of our framework, we hope to pull from each of these frameworks to create something that is hybridized, pulling components from each of the different pieces. And I have to rush. So we're doing a literature review to inform this work. We're going to do global consultations, and we're going to utilize web-based platforms to actually disseminate whatever we actually come with. So we hope to engage everybody. It will be evidence-based. It is going to inform policy, advocacy, research, and service delivery. And it's going to help link national, regional, all the way to the global work that we actually need to do. And I'd like to recognize the organizations that have actually helped develop this framework. So thank you very much.